And this is why when you came to the mosque, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was among us, you saw a blackboard with two flags, the American flag and the flag of Islam. And the question between the two flags was, which one will survive the war of Armageddon? That war is on. The wicked want to make Islam a religion of war, a religion of death, a religion of fanaticism. The Christian leaders are now boldly condemning Islam and the God of Islam and the Prophet of Islam. They're spending millions of dollars training a cadre of missionaries with a goal to wipe out Islam. They fear Islam in America, that it might change the religion of the people. What religion do you have? You say, I am a Christian. I say, what is that? You say, I'm a follower of Jesus. I say, and what was his religion? Listen to me. You cannot show me in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John where Jesus said, I am a Christian. It's just not in there. You cannot show me where Abraham, Noah, Lot, Jonah, Isaiah, Ezekiel said, I am a Jew. It's not in the book. Not in the book.
No, sir.
I'm not saying it's a bad name. I'm just saying we shouldn't kill each other over a name that the master never used. Hear me. What is the symbol of your religion? Well, my symbol is the cross. Oh. What was the symbol during the time of Jesus? I don't know. Well, it's time you got acquainted. The symbol in the time of the master was a fish. Why a fish? Because your work is to be fishers of men and women. You are never supposed to come to the house of Jesus alone. Who did you bring? Who did you catch today? Where was your fishing pole? And the best ones of you, where's your net? The people out there swimming in the sea of sin, who will fish them out? And that's why Jesus said to Peter, come on, Peter, you follow me, I'll make you a fisher of men. Well, if the first disciple was a fisher of men, what are you? You got hung up on the wrong thing.
That's up.
Praising Jesus with our lips. The heart removed. Well, Muslims, you ain't no different. All of this hypocrisy in religion has to end.
Got to go.
It's good, thank you, for us to build marvelous buildings, and every great preacher wants to build a nice house. I think that is good. But Jesus never built one. I saw in the book that they saw him teaching by the river Galilee. I saw where the master was teaching by the side of the road. Because see, the church is not a building. The church is you. Building the church is building the character of God in the people. Paul said, I could not leave you until Christ was formed in you. If Christ be formed in you, then God walks when you walk, and God talks when you talk, and God acts as you act, and you become the church of God in Christ. Muslim, what is that? Is it a fez? Is it a beard? Is it a camel? Is it alhamdulillah? What is a Muslim? A Muslim is one who submits his will entirely to do the will of God. Never let names divide the house of God anymore. If one says I'm a Christian, one says I'm a Jew, one says I'm a Muslim, then stop and then watch how they live. That'll tell you who they really are. We have to throw the rider, Baal, falsehood that keeps us divided and fighting each other. I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying we shouldn't build buildings. My pastor's a builder, I'm a builder, these are builders. But we must never forget as we build buildings to build Jesus in people.
Yes, sir.
So that when you see the person, you're looking at the master. When you see the Muslim, you see Muhammad. Because we've submitted our will to do the will of God. And these messengers and prophets were reflections of God. So if we submit our will and follow them, then they should be in us. Awesome ruler.
Yes, sir.
Awesome power. Living word. Living truth. Well, if it's not living in you, who is the awesome ruler of you? Who is the king in your dome? Kingdom. If God is not king in your dome, then you don't know the awesome power of the ruler, because when God rules in your house, you don't fear men. You don't look at the power of the great military strength of America and bow down.
No, sir.
If the king is on the throne in your dome, you know that he is omnipotent and gives you power through your faith to change the realities of your life. I close I had an experience in 1985 where I was taken up on the wheel into a great wheel where I heard the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad telling me of the plans of Ronald Reagan, who had met with his Joint Chiefs of Staff to plan a war covertly. He told me to hold a press conference and tell the people that I got it from him, Elijah Muhammad. These are his exact words. Tell them you got it from me, Elijah Muhammad, on the wheel. You are the manger that Jesus was born in and from. You look in 2,000 years back, when it's right now in your day and in your time, the Jesus you've been looking for. He is not a white man. He wasn't a white man back then. The prophetic Jesus and the historical Jesus was not a white man, and the prophetic Jesus is not a white man. He had hair like lamb's wool. So if you got a problem following kinky hair and dark skin, you have a problem with the Mahdi and the Masih, or the Messiah. Prophet Muhammad told you in the Hadith to look for a leader whose hair was like what? Dried grapes. Dried raisins. A dried grape becomes a raisin, don't it? And his face like what? Like soot. But if he speaks wisdom, follow him. It's not an accident that the stone in Mecca is called a black stone. It's not an accident. And it's not an accident that the prophet kissed it. And everybody that goes to Mecca has to kiss a black stone. Well, you better start learning how to kiss a black man. As the psalmist said, kiss the son, lest he be angry with you. President Reagan attacked Libya His successor was who? President Bush. No. Who was Reagan's successor? Bush Sr. And Bush Sr. had a war in the Gulf with Iraq. Now you have Libya under Reagan, Iraq under Bush. He won a war, but was a one-term president. And then came who? Clinton. And he bombed Sudan, Muslim country, and he bombed Afghanistan, a Muslim country. Under Bush Sr., they went down to Panama, killing thousands of poor black people to arrest a president, Noriega. And now he's in Florida in a prison. But each time that they did this, there was a war on the homeland with you. In 1941, when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, Japanese Americans suffered. Their property was taken. They were put in concentration camps for the duration of the war. And only recently was some form of reparations given to the Japanese. During that same period, Hitler and Mussolini were the Axis powers of evil, and Italian and German Americans suffered. And in the late 40s, when Mao Zedong kicked Chiang Kai-shek out of mainland China, Chinese Americans began to suffer as a result of China's rise to power. Just follow me, I'm almost finished. You all right? All during the time that the Japanese were suffering, the Italians, the Germans were suffering, the Chinese were suffering, black people who had been suffering suffered all the way through that period. You heard Malcolm. Did you ever see Malcolm bring a sword to convert people? The sword was in his mouth. It was effective arguments. For 70 years, we've been in America, 72 years. We never used force to convert anybody. I met my brother in a time of love in 1978, wasn't it? 77. He invited me into his church to stand on his rostrum. I never asked one member of his church to join on to Islam. I knew this was a good man. Follow a good man, because good men good men ultimately do good things. I wasn't interested in labels. I had a Bible in one hand and the Quran in another, and there's a picture of me in his church with the Bible and the Quran, and he had a big rainbow behind the pulpit, and it looked like the rainbow was in the Bible and the Quran that I held in my hand. I have had over 2,500 preachers to sit at my table for dinner. I talked to them out of their book and out of the Quran and gave each of them a Quran. Reverend Al Sampson opened the door of his church when I was rebuilding the nation and said, here's the key. This house is your house. How could I hate Christians? I just hate the division. So now, the younger Bush wants to finish off what his father didn't, but widen it. And the setting up of Homeland Security and the robbing of the American people of their rights, making you afraid of a terrorist in every storefront, every corner. Somebody's plotting something so that you will gladly give up your freedom for them to make you secure. They're after me. And I have seen the trickle of propaganda has already started. When I go, God willing, I will visit countries and speak to leaders that he calls the axis of evil. So the spin doctors will already be spinning their yarn to weave a jacket for me and for us. We're terrorist sympathizers or terrorists ourselves. So what will happen is many leaders will become afraid. Afraid. Because you will be threatened that you will lose what you think you have. Go ahead, brother. And the trade-off will be join the government against a voice of truth that you know has never been a terrorist. I have avoided even my enemies who misunderstand me. And I have authority and power. But I have never asked none to harm the hair of the head of no man. That's right. Though I know that if I misuse my authority, many that dislike me would die. No, 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 no. Listen. Listen. I love you whether you love me or not. I'm not crazy, but I try to avoid that which will cause us to clash with each other. Because the big fight is not us with each other. The big fight is us with the forces of evil that have put us at odds with each other. Listen, I know that there are agents in this house every progressive preacher now under the patriotism law, they'll be listening. Whatever you say, they got it. But the ass sees death. I can't continue with the rider. And I would advise you to throw the rider off your back. Now I close. Look at this. Ever since 9/11, they've been frightening you. They're going to blow up bridges. Yes, they're going to do this. And nothing ever happened. Just as somebody asked President Bush, what did you know? And when did you know it? All of a sudden, a terrorist threat to take your attention away from the right question at the right time. Because if you look at who benefited, you got to remember that he lost the popular vote. So the people weren't with him. Not before September the 11th. But after September the 11th, a wounded country united. I asked the question, how did you know so much the day after and so little the day before? Somebody knew something, and they deliberately permitted people to die. And what was the benefit? The uniting of a country. A patriotic fervor that would allow laws to be passed that take away the people's rights. And Homeland Security to be set up to monitor every group in America to stifle freedom of speech and freedom of dissent. So you can think about some little act that you would like to commit to hurt the enemy. I would advise you that's not wise. Just wait on God. Wait. You see, if we see death in the path, the sword is raised against the rider. But the ass will get it too. Now look at the country. Fire burning at one time in 11 states. Because drought has dried up the tender land, and just a spark set it off, and then wind. Rain, torrential rain swelling the rivers beyond their banks, creating floods, tornadoes, hailstones. So I said in my press conference today, I know that this country plans to bomb Iraq, but I want America to know that you do have power to destroy cities.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. I want to greet you, my dear beloved brothers and sisters, in the greeting words of peace. We say it in the ancient tongue of Arabic. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
Welcome, 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 dear beloved family, to another episode of the Image and Nation Show. My name is Brother Leo Muhammad, and sitting alongside me is my beloved wife and friend, Sister Claudia Muhammad.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you all in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, beloved.
I pray to Allah that you are all safe and well and appreciating the countless blessings from Almighty God Allah, because we're living in a time where anything can happen. So we always got to say, Inshallah, God willing, praise be to Allah, because it's a very strange time that we're in now.
Absolutely. Praise be to
Praise
Allah.
be to Allah.
Thank you, dear beloved family, for tuning in once again. As always, I want to encourage you to call a friend, a relative, a loved one. Let them know that the Imagination Show is right now live on Zoom and also on YouTube. Also, dear family, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button, so that you can influence those algorithms and let it be known that this show is appreciated, that this show is liked. Also, dear family, hit the share button, share, whether you share the entire episode, the entire show, or you share little snippets that you yourself cut up, it's entirely up to you. We're very happy for you to share the Imagination Show. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel in order that we can continue to grow the channel. I pray that everybody is good. Pray that everybody is in good health and spirits. We pray that Almighty God Allah is blessing you to be successful in that which you endeavor to do in the way of righteousness and in the way of goodness. And, we, as always, we don't take it for granted when we have this opportunity each and every week.
Right.
We pray that Allah will bless us to have a successful show this evening. Sister Claudia, you had some shout outs?
Yes, just a shout out to my beautiful sister, Sister Madia, who we met each other just the other day.
Okay.
Whilst I was out, and Sister P.O.W.E.R. Assalamu alaikum to you, sister. I haven't seen you for a while. I don't know if you've been online, but I haven't seen you. So lovely to see you on this evening on the Zoom. And shout out to Ismail Cisse, regular 8 Electronics.
Ishmael Cisse, that's
From the beginning.
Sweden.
Yes, from the very beginning. So
Absolutely.
praises to you,
Praise
Tyler.
be to
And
Allah.
is it Pat,
South Africa.
Stephen Brown, and that's it from now.
Stephen Brown.
Bonafide 1970.
Stephen Brown is Long Island in Queens, New York, I guess.
Yeah.
That is. And then we got 8th Electronics
Right.
from South Jersey, also in the States. Bonafide 1970. Where are you based, Bonafide 1970? Thank you very much for the greetings. Dear family, we want to get right into our subject this evening, because I've got quite a bit to get through in truth, and I really want to get through it to the best of our ability. Let me move something off of my screen and then let us get started. So, welcome to episode 193 of the Image a Nation show. Today is Thursday, July the 31st, 2025. July's done.
Yeah. Our son said today, "Ooh, where did July go?"
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Man.
it is.
Time is just running and passing.
That's right.
Today's title is Nothing to Die For, Nothing to Live For. Nothing to die for, nothing to live for. Let me elaborate a little bit.
Yes, if you could.
If we have nothing to die for, then in reality, we have nothing to live for. Dear family, there must be that which you might want to call a red line, that which you say you will not go beyond that particular point. There must be criteria in our life where we recognize that, beyond this point, I will not be pushed. Beyond this point, I would rather die than to be pushed beyond this particular point, because to go beyond this point would mean that I'm no longer a man. It would mean I'm actually no longer a woman. It would mean that I have no dignity. It would mean that I have no freedom. It would mean that I am not worthy of life if I'm willing to continue to exist in a situation like this. Let me give you an example. Somebody decides that they want to come now to kill my wife and my children. Well, according to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the example set for us and given to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as a man, somebody is coming to kill my wife and my children, that's a good day for me to die. See? Because for me to stand back and allow such a thing to take place without giving my life and without trying my utmost to save their lives, no, family, well, that would be, sacrilege. You see, that would be the height of cowardice and capitulation, to stand by and watch one's wife and children be slaughtered and not desire to do anything in my power to prevent that, and to even kill the one who's attempting to kill my wife and my children. So I want to contextualize this title in that way, because it's really, really important that we appreciate that there are those who have gone before us who made such decisions. You see, and it's through people like them who have gone before that we happen to be here today.
That's right.
There are those who sacrifice everything in order that you and I could be here today. And it's really sad. I find it very sad that there are some of us who are so ready to sell our freedom and sell our liberty and sell, our birthright for a cheap price, for 30 pieces of silver, like that Judas in the Bible, not appreciating and realizing the tremendous sacrifices that our ancestors, many of them, have paid in order for you and I to be here today and to have the life that we have. And so, go ahead,
Well,
Sister
just to
Paul.
add to that, Keith Jackson says, never sell your soul to the enemy.
Absolutely. And there's too much of that going on. There are too many of us who will take a cheap price, for the aspiration for liberation that so many of our people have. So many of our people find ourselves in really dire straits, in terrible, terrible condition on this planet. And we have so-called leaders who are so willing to take a cheap price for trinkets that they can get for themselves and for maybe their immediate family and some cronies within a circle that they hang out with in order to sell out the masses of the people and their aspiration to be free, their aspiration to be justified, their aspiration to have sovereignty over their bodies and over their lands. And so we wanted to address this, not necessarily from the angle that many of you may think, but you will see as we continue the particular thrust, the particular angle that we are coming from this evening. Because, you know, we're going to have to learn, dear family, the tremendous price that Black people have paid and continue to pay. If a man has not discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live. This quote has been attributed to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now, I just want to stop there briefly because, you know, so many people want to reduce Dr. King to "I have a dream," a slogan of "I have a dream," because that dream goes on to talk about holding hands with enemies and all this and everybody having a loving. But in reality, you know, Dr. King was much bigger than a dream that you can't have unless you're sleeping. He was a wide awake man, especially towards the end of his life, after he met with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he made a speech where he told the people, "I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but we will get there as a people." See, that's a man who understood that even if it meant he had to die, he was willing for that to happen just so long as he knew that life would continue and that life would be lived by the masses of our people. If a man has not discovered something that he will die for, he is not fit to live. This quote has been attributed to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It emphasizes the importance of having deeply held beliefs and a purpose worth fighting for, even to the point of risking one's life. This is so critically important, dear family, because if we think that we can fight this type of liberation struggle, this battle for our rise as a people without any risk to life and limb, then we are not living in the real world. You see, this struggle is accompanied by the prospect of death. It goes on. The explanation continues. It suggests that without such a commitment, life lacks a meaningful foundation. You understand, family? We have to have a cause bigger than ourselves if we are ever to have any effect. Cause and effect. In order for you and I to have an effect in this life, there must be a cause.
That's right.
That we have, that cause will produce an effect. In the absence of such a cause, we will have no effect. And it would be as if we had come onto the planet, lived a few days, died, and our life literally meant nothing.
I was having a conversation with my sister, and we were saying how many people actually enjoy the jobs that they're in, because we're just not living our purpose. Some of us don't even know what our purpose is. And then we just die without fulfilling our purpose. So,
unfulfilled.
Yes, unfulfilled. And this is why a lot of the youth, well, people in general, they just feel unfulfilled, thinking, well, this is just not, they don't know what exactly it is, but they know something is not right in their life. They know instinctively there's more
to this life.
Yes,
Yes.
but we just can't tap into
Yes.
what it is.
And hence the proverbial question, what's it all about?
That's right.
See?
Yes.
What's it all about? This is
Yes.
the question that so many people ask, if not physically from their lips, they ask it in their minds and in their hearts, because too many people, as you said, Sister Claudia, they're doing jobs
Yeah, they hate it.
and they hate the job,
That's right.
but they feel that if they don't do that job, then the money will dry up or
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
But they're not happy. People are not happy.
Yes, yes.
I can remember back in the day being in nightclubs, drinking and smoking, and the music is pumping, but I'm literally asking myself, why am I here?
Yes, yes.
Because I really wasn't enjoying myself in that environment, but I didn't know what was the alternative, or what was it that I was really seeking or searching for. See?
Yes.
And so many people find themselves in that type of dilemma.
That's right.
Asking, what's it all about? Dear family, just contemplate for a moment and imagine the utter naivety of those of us who genuinely thought that the African and Caribbean countries and their leaders who declared independence with flag waving and fanfare from the European colonizers were free and independent sovereign states, while they were nothing of the sort, because the enemy was busy deceiving the whole world into not realizing that he is in fact the personification of evil. And as the scripture says, he is a liar and a murderer from the beginning. That you can find in the book of John, chapter 8, verse 44. See, we thought, I'm a Jamaican, and Jamaica was supposed to have achieved its independence in 1962. But the reality is that Jamaica never really became independent. Yeah. Which is why to this day it still has a governor general answerable to the British government. Which is why today some of the exam papers for the curriculum, the school curriculum, is still marked or governed over by the Privy Council of Great Britain. And we can go on and on and on to look at these links. You see, it's still part of the so-called Commonwealth of Nations, former colonized nations of the British, but we're still governed under that umbrella of control by these European nations. Family, where is the independence? I want us to really appreciate just how we've been fooled, how we've been hoodwinked, how we've been manipulated into thinking that we were independent, when in reality, we have an enemy, a wicked enemy who has been working overtime to keep us in another form of bondage, mental slavery and economic slavery and all manner of other forms of control, but in particular, the elimination of anybody who would rise up and threaten to bring about a genuine independence, genuine autonomy, genuine sovereignty, you see, genuine separation. No, that was never to be allowed. And today, so many of us take it for granted that we're all wrapped up in a global European dominated system, and we can't seem to understand why, when as an African, as an original man, an original woman, as a Black person, why should we be so caught up in somebody else's design, somebody else's systems? You see? And so this is what we want to talk about this evening. Go ahead.
Yeah, Winston says they sing God Save the King in class. Imagine that.
Imagine.
Oh.
And where is that? Where is that in
I don't know.
Jamaica? Probably still. Yeah, probably Jamaica and probably many of these so-called Commonwealth nations, dear family. This is some serious, serious business. Please listen very, very carefully to this series of videos that I'm going to play for you this evening.
Every African leader who ever stood up to the West and neocolonialism was either killed or neutralized. However, African leaders who were friends of the West have enjoyed decades of uninterrupted power and support. That is a staggering statistic and should give even the most cynical food for thought.
Now, did you hear that, family? Every African leader who has ever attempted to stand up to the West has either been murdered, killed, or neutralized. See, neutralized meaning their policies and their direction that they want to take their country and somehow has been interfered with to the point where it hasn't been able to progress. They haven't been able to impose their will on their nation in order to develop and to make changes or whatever. They've been kept in a position of neutrality, neutralized. They have not been able to do the things that they came to power to do because there's always forces working to either kill them or neutralize them. I really want us to think. And then the narrator says, but all of those, I'm going to play it again, all of those African leaders who have been siding with the West, somehow they seem to have, you know, longevity and influence and power, but not to help us, but to keep the West happy while our nations remain underdeveloped. Our nations remain beggars. Our nations remain, you know, poverty stricken, and we can go on and on and on. Please listen one more time.
Every African leader who ever stood up to the West and neocolonialism was either killed or neutralized. However, African leaders who were friends of the West have enjoyed decades of uninterrupted power and support. That is a staggering statistic and should give even the most cynical food for thought.
Food for thought, dear family. That's part of what the Image and Nation show is all about. We want you to think, because as a man thinketh, so is he. If we can just get our thinking right and begin to really appreciate what's going on and understand that so much of what's going on is not accidental. It is by design. In July of 2025, the African continent is not free. This is where we are right now, this month. The African continent is not free and remains subjugated under Western dominance, because that is and was the intent of the white Western powers at the 1884-1885 Berlin Conference. 1884-1885 is in effect right now, dear family. That was the plan, and it's still in effect. They knew that the illegal established order, because what they established is totally illegal when it comes to human rights and international law and, you know, the law of freedom, justice, and equality that Almighty God Allah put in place. They know that this established order is totally against God and his will. See, they knew that the illegal established order would have to be maintained through hidden deceptions and continuous murders, because they knew that we would continue to produce potential leaders to fight for our freedoms. Right. See, they've known this. They've known that as Black people, as original people, we are the most creative.
That's right.
productive people on the planet. That's who we are. That's our nature. We can't help it.
That's right.
So go ahead, sister.
No, you finish what you're saying.
No, so I'm saying the black woman, she will lay down and she will give birth to leaders and gods continuously. So they know this. So then they have watchmen. This is the scripture that you find in the Bible where Herod, he's afraid of a Messiah coming to birth. He's looking from when it's a baby.
That's right.
You see, the baby must be killed. So they put out a decree, kill all boy babies. But nothing has ever changed. It's never changed. That's the same mentality. They're looking at our youth. They're looking to see any potential that this potential could become actual and a leader be produced that will make changes to that established illegal order. Are you following me, dear family? This is the reality of what we face on this planet. This is what's been going on. Go ahead.
I was going to add to that. That's why they keep us in an environment that is produced for us to fail.
Yes.
And it suppresses our creativity.
Absolutely.
So they've always got to feed us this and that. So then we're not even thinking of our potential.
Yes.
Because we're taking this job, this little handout, that handout.
Yes.
Not expressing the God.
Yes.
The God force within us. We can do anything we want to do.
Absolutely.
But they've wrapped us up in this system that isn't designed for us to be productive.
Yes.
No freedom of speech.
Yeah.
As soon as you open your mouth, they give you the money. Shh.
It's
a shush money. Keep your mouth shut.
Hush
money. Yeah, hush money. Keep your mouth shut and do as I say.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'll cut
I'll cut it off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Today's a day. Yeah. Cut it.
Cut it. Cut
it so we can separate.
Yes.
We've got to have that faith that we can trust and believe that God is present and that He's come for us.
That's right. That's right. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be.
And just to elaborate a little bit more on that environment, Sister Claudia, you know, the environment that is created is an environment of continuous struggle.
Oh, absolutely.
And in that environment, again, it's very difficult then to be creative and to, you know, think outside the box. Because if you're just surviving every day, when you're in survival mode, you can't innovate. You can't really, you just have to just stay alive. And so that's why I think as Bob Marley said, they made the world so hard. Every day you got to keep on fighting. Every day, you see, you're basically just trying to survive while they are putting more and more pressure on it. It's written in the scriptures. That's what Pharaoh did to the children of Israel. You see, when it was a hard taskmaster, making them to work and make bricks out of straw.
That's right.
You see, that's what the scripture is talking about, but it's not talking about some ancient thing that happened in Egypt back in the day. It's talking about now. Now,
that's right.
Dear family. Okay, let's continue.
Pierre Molele, a Congolese revolutionary leader, led a Maoist-inspired rebellion against the Western-backed Mobutu regime. In 1968, he was captured, tortured, and executed, with Mobutu's regime receiving strong support from the United States. Molele's brutal end sent a clear message to those who resisted Western influence in Africa. Resistance would not be tolerated, especially if it threatened the established order.
Are you listening, family? See, every time we produce one,
that's right,
he's snuffed out. And they're all involved. All these Western powers, see America, they're always there. You see the fingerprints all the time. You see, manipulating the situations and the circumstances that then cause our leaders to be absolutely murdered.
That's right.
And it's blatant.
Oh, yes.
Because they're terrified of Black people having a free run at liberty.
That's right.
You see? Because understand this, dear family, we really, sadly, so many of us really underestimate ourselves.
We do.
And we don't appreciate what God has given us and who we are and our relationship to God. They know.
That's right.
And they're not ashamed to be killing God and to be killing the people of God. And that's what makes them Satan.
That's right.
I know you're not listening. I know you're not listening, family. That's what makes them Satan. That's what makes them devil. Because they understand that here you have a people who are the people of God, a beautiful people, a people who without whom they would have nothing. Everything they have comes from us, down to their very life, because we gave birth to them. We produced them. But this is a people who will kill their own parents.
That's right.
Once again, making them Satan. Dear family, I hope you're following what we are sharing this evening, because this history is critical for us to know. And it's not like we're going to do a comprehensive history here. This is literally tip of the iceberg stuff. But you will see just how horrible the history is in terms of us producing leadership, which is then snuffed out. Free, independent, and strong Black leadership has always been the #1 target for destruction from white supremacy, because the only way it can stay in control is to kill or manipulate the Black leader in such ways that would allow them to have full access to the social, political, and economic infrastructures and levers of the targeted nation, so that the leader is trapped in a web of the Western designed system of tricks and lies. This is what they do. They insert themselves in such a way that they are controlling literally social, political, and economic infrastructure and the levers of influence and power within our nation, so that as a leader in such a nation, that leader is trapped in that Western web. See, it's not an accident that P.O.W.E.R has now instructed the judiciary in Burkina Faso that they are no longer to wear that wig and that gown from Westminster in their courtrooms. Why? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it like this. He said they are the skunk of the planet Earth. What do you mean, skunk? The skunk is a creature that even after it's departed the place where it was, it leaves a stench. And so you don't have to see the skunk, but you will smell and you will know that a skunk was here. Well, the same principle applies with the European. Even though they may have physically left to some degree, because they haven't truly physically left, but left to some degree, these former colonized nations, these former subjugated nations, they leave their systems in place. And then the Black leader jumps into that same system, thinking that he can now take it over and run it to the benefit of Africans or indigenous or original people. But it don't work like that, because it's not your system. It was never designed to be of benefit to you and me. It was designed to be of benefit to our enemy. And so that's why people don't understand that these systems have to be completely dismantled. See, when Mandela came out and they persuaded Mandela that, yeah, don't demolish anything, don't abolish the system, just join the system. You can become president, you can be, part of the system and keep the system in place. That's why to this day, Europeans controlled the farms in South Africa. Europeans controlled the economy. That's the reality. It's not Africans. It's not the indigenous people, dear family, because the skunk left his stench there. And in this case, in this reality, it's more than a stench. See, it's a system. In this description, I call it a web. See, it's a web of the Western design systems of tricks and lies. Tricks and lies, dear family. That's what we are currently governed by.
Julius Nyerere, Tanzania's first president, was not assassinated, but his vision for a self-reliant socialist Tanzania was systematically undermined by Western economic pressures. Nyerere's policies aimed at reducing inequality and promoting self-sufficiency were at odds with the interests of global financial institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. While Nyerere's leadership didn't end in a violent coup, the West used economic tools to destabilize his agenda. The imposition of structural adjustment programs weakened Tanzania's economy, forcing Nyerere to abandon many of his socialist policies. These programs were designed to keep nations like Tanzania dependent on foreign aid and subject to external influence. In essence, Nyerere's vision for a truly independent Tanzania was slowly strangled by economic manipulation, ensuring that the country remained within the West's sphere of control.
Are you listening, family? Are you really listening? See, they call it structural adjustment programs, SAP, SAP. Yeah, to sap the energy, sap the strength, sap the ability of the leader to change and enhance his country. This is how it's done. This is how it works, dear brothers and sisters. You know, we have to wake up to the fact, and I pray that the African brothers and sisters understand why a Burkina Faso, for instance, refuses now to take loans from the International Monetary Fund or the World Bank, because these are traps. See, these are webs designed to entrap the leader and the country, its economy, in such a way that we can never, ever genuinely have growth and development, because then those structural adjustment programs kick in, where they will dictate what the government can or can't do within their country, dictating from France, you know, from Paris, dictating from Britain, from London, dictating from America, from Washington, and all of these other capitals that are now remotely controlling these African nations. Go ahead.
And that's why it's so key to have our own schools, because that's where it starts. With the children,
education.
yeah, with the education. When a child says, "Oh, I want to be a scientist," and the teacher says,
no,
don't know.
Yeah, maybe you should be a carpenter.
Yes, yes. And I don't know how it is in the States when you have these parents' evenings, and the teacher says, "Yeah, I don't think you'll be able, your son or daughter will be able to get an A. Yeah, they might get a D." Or so they just plant these seeds, constantly planting seeds that the children are no good. You can't achieve this. You can't, and then we just rely on these people.
Come on, man.
It starts with, that's why it's so key, the parenting. When you're pregnant, to instill these things into the greatness of God.
That's right.
Into our children.
That's right.
So that they're not going to stand for what they're hearing. No, you can't do this, or you
can't do that. Yes, yes.
You're from God.
Yes.
And see, this is why, you know, what's that saying where they said it's not the man, it's the system, but the man made the system.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Where's it come from?
Exactly. This is all part of the miseducation teaching people that, yeah, it's, you know, it's a system.
Mm.
In other words, you know, the system
Yes, it's a
really, there's
system,
nothing you
yes.
can really do because it's just a system,
Yes.
really. But the system came out of a man.
Absolutely.
There's no such thing as a system
That's
without
right.
a man.
Absolutely.
That's like saying, oh, it's the spider's web, but you can't have a spider's web
That's
without
right.
a spider.
That's right.
The spider has to produce that web.
Yes.
So that web of lies, that system of corruption, that system that's designed to keep nations entrapped and keep them in debt
Yes.
and keep them from being able to develop themselves.
That's right.
That system is not some, you know, mythical thing that, oh, it comes out of that man
That's right.
who created that system in the first place.
Sorry, we just did a little spelling mistake there on
Oh.
separation.
Separation, okay. Another word, dear family, for independence is separation. Okay, it's a very, very important word. Very important word.
Is.
And it's a word, unfortunately, that too many of us are scared of. We're scared of the idea of separating ourselves. Another word for independence is separation. And it is the word we should be using and the practice we should be employing if Africa and the rest of the Black world is ever to realize true freedom, justice, and equality, and a genuine independence from the enslavers, colonizers, and oppressors whose appetite for power, control, and other people's lands and resources is insatiable. Okay? Their appetite for power, control, and other people's land and resources is insatiable. The meaning of the word insatiable meaning impossible to satisfy. You cannot satisfy their greed. It's impossible.
That's right.
See? Because again, for some of us, we think, okay, well, they've taken so much, you know, they're not going to take any more. They've done so much. You know, in terms of the way in which they've raped us and stolen everything or whatever, you know, thank God we've reached a stage now when they would allow us to have some of our. No, you don't understand. They are insatiable. They cannot be satisfied.
That's right.
There's a scripture that says they know no bounds. There's no limit.
Yes.
Dear family, it means impossible to satisfy, which is why the man taught from the face of God, the man who was taught from the face of God, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, separation is the best and only solution. Separation is the best and only solution, dear family. This is what we've got to come to terms with. And I'm telling you, man, as Black people, we're going to remain in a lot of trouble as long as we don't appreciate what God has given us in the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, his teachings, and this man who remains among us, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who, again, if we were listening at the beginning, you know, honestly, family, we're so blessed to have a man like this among us today, teaching the way he teaches.
Savior.
Wow.
Amilcar Cabral was a key figure in the independence movements of Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde. He was a brilliant strategist and a charismatic leader whose efforts were crucial in the fight against Portuguese colonial rule. In 1973, Cabral was assassinated, a killing believed to have been orchestrated by Portuguese agents, possibly with external support. Although direct evidence linking the Portuguese government to the assassination is lacking, documents and testimonies suggest the Portuguese intelligence had infiltrated Cabral's party, the P.A.I.G.C., and were aware of the plot. Cabral's assassination came at a critical time when the P.A.I.G.C. was making significant military and diplomatic gains, and his death was a strategic move to disrupt the independence movement.
You know, family, you know, as original people, as Black people, as Africans, man, we're so gifted. We are so talented. And, you know, it's like, I just imagine an Africa of 54 nations being completely free and independent. My God, do you understand what that would mean? Do you realize that that would mean that Africa as a continent would be on top of the world? I mean, literally overnight. That's how, that's in terms of the land mass, in terms of the resources, in terms of the human resources. This just the level of talent that's there. And you know, like whether these games, these sports that this world thrives on and that this world revolves around, the sport and play, like, you know, football, it always makes me laugh at how we're trying to compete in sports and in a world that's been basically created by Europeans, and we're trying to fit ourselves in to that structure of their making. And oftentimes what it does, it leaves us at a disadvantage. Like say, you know, you got great players who have come out of Africa, like Didier Drogba and people like that, and other who, when you know their story and how when they were children they were playing barefoot.
That's right.
You know, and having to go miles upon miles just to go and find a piece of flat ground where they could do their training, whatever, not having a proper football, but yet they became geniuses at the sport. Look, what I'm saying, family, it really annoys me sometimes when I see the way some of us go crazy over European football teams, you know, PSG, and we go crazy over Portugal, and we go crazy over the Spanish teams, and we go crazy over all of these European orientated football clubs. When in reality, if Africa was genuinely independent and free, man, we would produce players that they could never compete against. See, if we had the ability to develop our structures properly, you see, and our young people could have the proper training facilities and the proper infrastructure that would allow us to be able to compete on an even playing field. I'm telling you, we would supersede all of these teams and these players. They would be the ones literally fawning at our feet, because we're gods when it comes to sports, you see.
Anything we put our hands.
Absolutely, beloved. But, you know, I'm looking at, you know, this history, Portugal killing our leaders, you see, the Portuguese, you know, the French. These are murderers of Black aspirations. And yet sometimes I see us, we get so excited over the support. You know, some of us are avid Argentina fans. But do you know anything about the history of Argentina and how they literally basically got rid of the Black population in that country? You need to go and do your research and study it, man. You'd be shocked and appalled at what these people did, and why now in South America, where the vast majority of the people have a brown complexion or a Black complexion, you have teams like Argentina, you can hardly find a Black player, if any, in the team. There's a reason for that. But yet you'll have some of us, we're so ignorant that we be supporting Argentina. I just want us to think today, dear family.
I was going to read Sister Celestine, Sister Celestine
Go ahead.
sent from Message to the Black Man. And this by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And this title is Plan to Destroy Our Race.
Go ahead.
So, the American so-called Negroes are gravely deceived by the slave masters' teaching of God and the true religion of God. They do not know they are deceived and earnestly believe they are right, regardless of how vile the white race may be. My poor people are mentally blind, deaf, and dumb, and full of fear. Blind because they do not see the light of truth after being shown it for over 30 years. Deaf because they will not hear the truth. Islam that has come to them from Allah through the messenger, brackets myself. They are dumb because they will not see or open their ears and hearts after the light has shone clear for many years. You are full of the fear that was instilled in you when you were babies. So Allah told.
Wow.
That fear was put in you by the white slave masters through tortures, lynchings, burnings, rapings, killings, and has caused you to be blind, deaf, and dumb. This fear of the white slave master has caused you to love them in a crazy kind of way.
Wow.
You, my dear people, are like a woman desperately in love with a man who does not love her. Therefore, this love is blind. This man can beat, torture, ravage, humiliate, shame, and mock, but she will yet love him. And even when someone tries to tell her that this man is no good for her and certainly does not love her, she will yet love him and will become angered and defend such a man.
Wow.
This is a very sad thing, but a very true picture of the so-called Negroes. They love their tormentors.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sister Celestine.
Thank you, Sister Celestine and Sister Claudia, because again, family, if we were listening to that, we would understand this pathology and this psychology that we're dealing with here, and how, you know, this is a really cerebral thing that we have to deal with here. There's something that needs to be done in the way of our thinking.
Yes.
You see, there has to be adjustment in the thinking. We have to be re-educated.
That's right.
We have to be retaught. And first and foremost, we have to be humble enough to realize that we actually are messed up and that we don't know.
Yes.
And it's only under those circumstances when we can admit that there is a problem that then we can go in search of the solution being self-improvement, the basis for community development. The solution being that we know that we've got to go to work on self. You see? Because the problem lies with self. The problem lies with the fact that we have been conditioned from babies to be in love with our enemy. You see, to be in love with his world, and to not recognize the evil that he has done, continues to do, and is planning to do tomorrow. Dear family, I really must admit that as a black man living in the white Western world, I find it truly amazing. This is me talking, Brother Leo Muhammad. I find it truly amazing and astonishing just how little we as a people, with such a long history of brutality and pain at the hands of the white man, just how little we choose to know about his evil done to us in the assassinations of countless black leaders that we have produced for our liberation. And in that atmosphere of willful ignorance, because that's what we're doing, we're willfully ignorant and wishful thinking. We continue to think that we can be that he can be reformed and loved into goodness. Some of us think we can love him into being good. And we can integrate and live in peace and harmony together. Family, we should be ashamed. We really should be ashamed. Because throughout this long history of pain and brutality, we have never seen any manifestation of that expectation that we have. In fact, what we see is a doubling down, a compounding of evil now in the 21st century. See? So let's look at their history written in the blood of our leaders.
Eduardo Mondlane, the founder of Free Limo and leader of Mozambique's liberation struggle, was assassinated by a parcel bomb in 1969. Western intelligence agencies, particularly the CIA, are suspected of complicity in his murder, viewing him as a threat to NATO ally Portugal's control in southern Africa. Mondlane's assassination was a strategic move to prevent the realization of Mozambique's independence, which he was on the brink of achieving. His death delayed the liberation struggle, ensuring that Western interests in the region were safeguarded.
Are you listening, family? Can you see how, it doesn't matter in what region of Africa, in what country, and what you'll see throughout this presentation this evening is that they'll kill multiple leaders from the same country. They kill one, the black woman gives birth to another one, another great one comes up, another beautiful one comes up, another one comes up who desires to see us free, and they'll kill that one. Then another one will rise, and then they'll kill that one because there is no conscience there. That's going to say, oh man, look, we keep killing these people.
Satan is busy. Busy.
24 hours, 7 days a week.
Absolutely. And giving us pacifiers to keep us, every time we want to wake up or put them back to sleep.
Go back to sleep.
But now, this time, killing us.
Go back to sleep.
Yeah, go back to sleep.
In this world, dear family, treason has always been classified as one of the worst crimes a citizen of a nation can commit. And it is punishable by death. Because to betray your own people and country to an enemy is unthinkable. Yet sadly and unfortunately, this behavior has been endemic. The word endemic means a regular occurrence within our long struggle for liberation. And our enemies have been highly successful in turning one brother against another for money or promises of power, prestige, and acceptance into the high echelons of the enemy's elite social circles. Sad. See? But this is quite often the mode of operation, the modus operandi that the enemy uses. He uses one black man against another.
That's right.
One friend against another.
That's right.
It's not like even like he goes and gets a strange black man to come and kill another black man who is unknown to that one. No, he will deliberately come into the family, come into the close inner circle of the leader and attempt to corrupt the son of the leader, the brother of the leader. I mean, this is how, and some of our people fall for it.
Yes. And that's what they do in the music industry. When you're in a group, take one of them out.
That's right.
Oh, you're better.
That's That's right.
They do that with the gangs when they see the gang. That's how they operate.
Or divide and rule.
Absolutely.
Divide and conquer.
Absolutely.
This is real, dear family. This is when you understand his mode of behavior, his mode of operation, then you can actually guard against it. You see? And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, listen to the beautiful, powerful, profound teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said any of us can turn devil overnight.
That's right.
See? And that's why in the Nation of Islam, we have what's called a check procedure, man, where you don't take it for granted that your brother is going to be your brother tomorrow. Because the enemy is working all the time, external to the house and internal in the house. So you have to be on guard. So we're taught to walk our post in a perfect manner, keeping always on the alert. See? Because if you're not, then you will open up a way for the enemy to carry out his mode of operation, which is always to try to infiltrate to the point where he can get your friend your brother to betray the cause. Think, dear family, think about what we are saying this evening, because this is the history that is written in blood.
Thomas Sankara, often called Africa's Che Guevara, came to power in Burkina Faso through a coup in 1983. Like Gaddafi and Olympio, Sankara was a visionary. He implemented radical reforms, nationalizing land and mineral wealth, prioritizing education and health, and promoting women's rights. Sankara rejected foreign aid, believing it perpetuated dependence and hindered true independence. His policies were revolutionary, and his message resonated across Africa. But Sankara's bold stance made him enemies at home and abroad. In 1987, he was assassinated by his close friend and ally, Blaise Compaoré, in a coup widely believed to have been supported by former colonial powers, particularly France. Sankara's death was not just the elimination of a leader, but the silencing of a movement. His policies threatened Western economic interests and set a dangerous precedent for other African nations. His assassination ensured that Burkina Faso would not become a beacon of anti-imperialist revolution in Africa. The West's fingerprints may not be directly visible, but the consequences of Sankara's eliminations were clear. A return to a status quo that favored Western exploitation of African resources.
This is how it works, dear beloved family. The enemy is not asleep when it comes to us realizing our freedom, when it comes to us. And, you know, we can talk independence all we want, but understand that, you know, the independence that was written on that piece of paper only was really done to make us to have a false sense of security, while he is still within the borders of our countries working to make sure that we never have a genuine independent thought, a genuine independent thinker, a genuine revolutionary meaning one who changes direction from the direction of the former colonizer and enemy and goes in a different direction now, that direction towards our creator, towards our God. Surely I am being turned, trying to be upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth. They don't want that kind of turn. They don't want that type of revolutionary process to take place. So they're continuously watching and assassinating and murdering anyone who would rise with that type of idea.
That's right.
And what those who are willing to betray their own people don't realize, dear family, this is what the betrayers don't realize, is that it's only a matter of time before they lose their usefulness to the enemy. And then they in turn will be betrayed by the same enemy that they thought would shield and protect them from us, the ones who have been betrayed with their money and power, because they think their enemy is so powerful. They've got so much money that they can keep them shielded from the people they betray. But in reality, dear family, then if the enemy doesn't kill them himself, he will expose their corruption and all the crimes and vices that the fool was permitted to indulge in while he remained a useful asset and tool for their nefarious purposes. See, when you join the enemy, he allows you to indulge in all manner of filth and evil. See? But all of it, he keeps a record. He keeps a record. Because at a certain point in time, when you outlive your usefulness, all of your filth and all of your crimes and all of the vices that they permitted you to indulge in, they will expose when they get ready to throw you back and get ready to expose you as the traitor you are to those of us that you betrayed. This is how it works, you see, because you think that you can betray your people to an enemy and that enemy genuinely loves you. You must be joking. The enemy knows for a start that you can't be trusted because you'll betray your own people. So you're between a rock and a hard place, traitor, enemy. See? Oh man, I wish you were listening, family.
Samuel Doe took power in Liberia through a coup in 1980, with strong backing from the United States. However, when Doe's authoritarian rule led to civil war, the US withdrew its support, leaving him vulnerable to his enemies. Doe was eventually captured and executed in 1990 by rebel forces. His death was a direct consequence of the US abandoning him when he was no longer useful.
No longer useful. No longer useful. This is how it works. To all the betrayers and potential betrayers out there who are thinking, well, black people can never unite. We're never really going to be able to do anything. The enemy is so powerful. The enemy's got so much money. The enemy's got so much trinkets, attractive, shiny bits that I want and that I could do with. So let me betray my people. Let me betray the liberation struggle. Well, understand what's in store for you down the road, traitor, enemy. It's quite ironic and extremely hypocritical to hear so many political, media, and social commentators that class of white Western world continuously bleating on about terrorism when one considers the level of terrorism used by the white West over the years to maintain domination and control over the native or indigenous populations on our planet. Because there's terrorism, but you're the biggest terrorist on the planet. All you got to do is look at their history, and you'll see that that was what their history consists of, terrorizing native, indigenous, black, brown, yellow people all over this planet. The use of terrorism against the growth and development of individual African leaders and nations and the continent has been unprecedented in its wickedness and effectiveness in the prevention of our rise, dear family. This is what they've used.
Reuben Niobe, a dedicated anti-colonial leader from Cameroon, founded the Union of the Peoples of Cameroon, UPC, and became a leading voice for independence from French colonial rule. In 1958, Niobe was assassinated by French colonial forces, making him a martyr for the independence movement. It was a clear message that any attempt to break free from colonial control would be met with lethal force.
Lethal force. Terrorism. Again, a lot of these people who betray the cause, they're doing it because they're scared to death, because they've been terrorized into betrayal. They're scared. See, some of these African leaders, Caribbean leaders, they've been compromised because they've been to the parties, you see? They've been invited to Washington, they've been invited to Paris, they've been invited to London, and they've been compromised, and now they're terrified. They've been terrorized into selling out the aspirations of the people, dear family. Also, bear in mind that what we're touching on today is still barely the tip of the iceberg in terms of the real numbers of our people who have been assassinated in overt and covert ways. Because for France, Britain, or any of the other former enslavers and colonial masters to relinquish their grip on African economic resources would mean economic disaster. I want you to hear me, family. For them to relinquish their grip on Africa and Africa's resources would mean economic disaster for the white Western European economies. Their economies are built on the exploitation of African resources. This is what we've got to understand. So for them, you will hear them use terms like existential. They'll say it's an existential threat for us to be liberated. You see, for Ibrahim Traore to be successful and the other two states, Mali and Niger, who are now part of that Sahel coalition, for them to be successful in pulling away and separating completely from Western domination and Western influence and taking charge of the resources of those countries and what is in their soil, represents an existential threat to the survival of France and these other European nations, because they are literally like a bloodsucker, like a leech that is sucking the blood of these African nations. And once that leech, you put that cigarette on that leech and burn it and take it off of your skin, and it's no longer able to get that blood, it's going to die. See? So this is what we've got to understand. This is why the enemy fights so hard to maintain and will use, apologies, family, will use any means necessary. I've got a little fan here and I keep dropping it. And they will use any means necessary. See, remember what we said about by any means necessary. Black people like to say that, but we never employ that. We never use that. The only one who uses by any means necessary is the white man. Yeah. You see, there's no means at his disposal that he will not use to maintain his grip on our resources, our land, and our minerals, and even our leaders, our leadership. See, family? So let me say it again. Because for France, Britain, or any of the other former enslavers and colonial masters to relinquish their grip on African economic resources would mean economic disaster for the white Western European economies, which is why the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's song, White Man's Heaven is a Black Man's Hell, holds such significance in its meaning more than mere words. Think about that song. White man's heaven is a Black man's hell. And then you can reverse it. See, the Black man's heaven will be the white man's hell. What's heaven? Heaven is when we take back control of our lands and our resources, when we have genuine independence, freedom, justice, and equality among ourselves, and we can develop and grow and create a living paradise right here on earth. Our Father who art in heaven, thy kingdom come, thy will be done where? On earth, as it is in that elevated place called heaven, that place of higher thinking, not a place in the sky. Heaven has got to be built right here on earth. But for us to have heaven, it literally, for the white man, that puts him into hell. Because, by the way, the laws of physics says two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So in order for us to rule, he has to be out of power. In order for him to have ruled over the last 6,000 years, the black man had to be put to sleep. And that's the way in which it works, dear family. I know you're dreaming of a white Christmas. I know you want kumbaya, and can't we all just get along, and can't we all just live? It don't work like that. It does not work like that. Okay? This is the reality, brothers and sisters, that is continuously unfolding on our planet, and why they kill our prophets, why they kill our leaders continuously.
Sylvanus Olympio, the first president of Togo, envisioned a future where Africa would be free from colonial economic shackles. He planned to withdraw Togo from the CFA franc zone, a currency controlled by France, and establish a national currency, ensuring Togo's economic independence. The CFA franc has been a tool of neo-colonial control, allowing France to dictate the economic policies of 14 West African nations. Olympios' plan to break free from this economic stranglehold threatened French interests deeply, and just days before he could implement this revolutionary change, Olympio was assassinated in 1963. The circumstances are telling. France had a vested interest in maintaining its economic dominance in West Africa, and Olympio's assassination is widely believed to have been orchestrated with the complicity of the French government. As with any murder investigation, the question remains, who stood to gain the most from Sylvanus Olympio's death? France, and the preservation of its economic control over its former colonies.
For them, it's literally life and death, see? And sadly, for many of us, it's never been like that. We're not really thinking correctly. Hence, nothing to die for, nothing to live for. See, there has to be a point where we draw a line, you see? And when it comes to our freedom and our countries, our sovereignty, you see, then we have to say no. We would rather die than allow somebody to keep us enslaved, to keep us underdeveloped, to keep us poverty-stricken and ignorant and uneducated, because we're not allowed to build infrastructure like everybody else. We're not allowed to do the things that other peoples and other nations literally take for granted. And the number one target is always the indigenous Black people of this planet, because we represent the greatest threat.
That's right.
Because we occupy the space on the planet that has the greatest resources, including, most importantly, more important than diamonds and gold or coltan or any of these that you can find in the earth, the human resources. The Black man and woman, we are the most valuable commodity on this planet when you understand who we are. You see? And this is the knowledge that Sister Claudia was talking about earlier on, that has to be fed into our children, man. And we have to learn how to give birth to a God.
That's right.
The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that history is best qualified to reward our research. History is the study that we need to really give us the reward, you know, that we need to make progress.
Right. And
Go
that's
ahead.
why in schools,
Yes.
Satan gives us his history.
Fake history. His story.
His story. That's why we can't progress. Because we're wondering, well, okay, so where were we?
Exactly. And too many of us, we're so caught up in his story that we know nothing
That's right.
of our own
That's right.
history. And so we regurgitate and repeat
That's right.
what we've been taught
That's right.
in these so-called educational facilities with these curricula that are coming directly from Europe.
Yes.
And we don't understand, as we're studying now, Sister Claudia, in Study Guide, that we need a brand new educational paradigm.
That's right.
See? This is from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that history is best qualified to reward all of our research. And it is the only way to properly understand how and why Central Africa, as an example, and the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Democratic Republic of Congo is the richest and most resourceful part of the African continent, yet its people are the poorest, and there is perpetual war, while Western and Middle Eastern multinational companies, various foreign militaries, as well as mercenaries, NGOs, so-called non-governmental organizations, and other unknown nefarious entities are all operating on the ground in that region to the detriment and suffering of the Black African Congolese people. See, it's not an accident that Central Africa, Congo, DRC, that there's so much madness and mayhem going on there. This is not by accident, this is by design. See? Because of the wealth that is there and that they're all in there, raping and reaping and taking the resources out. But in order for them to be able to do that, they've got to, so they rule through chaos. They create chaos and then they can operate in that chaos. Do you get it, family? Do you understand what's going on?
Patrice Lumumba, the first democratically elected Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo, sought to unify and empower his nation. Congo, one of the most mineral-rich places on earth, has long been the target of foreign exploitation. Lumumba's vision for a united independent Congo was a direct threat to Western interests, particularly Belgium, the former colonial power. Lumumba's tenure was plagued by political instability and foreign interference. Within months of taking office in 1960, he was deposed, arrested, and eventually assassinated in a coup that was widely supported by Belgium and the United States. Declassified documents confirmed that the CIA had plotted to assassinate him, viewing his nationalist policies and alignment with the Soviet Union during the Cold War as a significant threat to Western dominance in the region. The Belgian government has also admitted its role in his murder. Lumumba's assassination marks the beginning of decades of turmoil in Congo, a nation that has never truly recovered from his loss. His commitment to genuine independence was met with brutal opposition, and his death allowed foreign powers to continue exploiting Congo's vast resources without hindrance. The West eliminated Lumumba not because he was a threat to his own people, but because he was a threat to their control.
Threat to their control, their family. And the Congo has never recovered from that assassination of that wonderful and great leader. See? You know, they like to point the finger at Africa. Oh, look, you know, look at the state of Africa. But what they never indicate is how we come to be in such condition.
Right.
How they've murdered all of the good leaders and then they put in their puppets who are corrupted by them. And all of the money and all of the resources that these corrupt leaders bring out of the African economies, they're in the City of London, in their banks, see? They're in Geneva, their banks. They're in the Cayman Islands, their offshore havens for money laundering. They're in all of these places that are facilitated by the West. My goodness, family. Congo is a place that has really suffered. You see that Central African place there, family, with that demon, so-called King Leopold, who they say killed maybe 15 million of our people in that region. I mean, you know, talk about genocide. Nah, man, we cannot even begin to fathom the type of machinations which has kept the African continent in turmoil while they continue to take its resources out of its soil. And even the way in which they take the resources, family, and they leave the earth scarred and, you know, without proper care to prevent contamination of the water basin and the overall ecosystems. So then there's an imbalance in the fauna and flora of the land, and then the people on that land suffer the chemicals that they use in the extraction of the various types of minerals and other elements that they take out of the soil, which then leaves the soil poisoned, which again affects the ability of the soil to produce decent food and or clean water. All of these things are things that lend themselves to the destabilization and the underdevelopment of these regions, these parts of Africa. And it's not coincidence or accident, but it's by design. See, the things that they're able to get away with in Africa, they would never, ever be able to get away with that type of behavior in the West. You see, where regulations and rules about even the way you exploit land are in place, and they have to follow these rules and these regulations and these restrictions. But in Africa, it's like a free-for-all, where they can effectively do whatever they want, dig up whatever they want, you see, and then dump whatever they want, dump the waste material from a lot of this exploitation without any concern whatsoever for the residue and what it does to the indigenous people on the ground, causing disease and illness and all manner of cancers and other ailments. This is what we're facing, brothers and sisters. This is the reality of what's going on our planet to this very day. And we have to understand that at a certain point in time, we have to take a close look at a brother like Ibrahim Traore, who is saying homeland or death, because he understands that you have to have something that you're willing to die for in order for you to truly live. I know some of us don't like or trust the Russians because as far as we're concerned, they are the same white devils as their white Western counterparts. But in truth and reality, Russia, which is an extremely diverse place in terms of its ethnic groups and populations, has always been an ally and friend of Africa and its people in our fight against the imperialist white Western world for liberation from their domination and ruthless and wicked exploitation. They have been this way, not just in words, but Russia has always come to Africa's aid in deed by supplying our freedom fighters with training and arms, without which today our plight might be much worse. It's not an accident that Russia is the big bogeyman of the West today, and that they have employed all these sanctions and they're feeding this war in Ukraine to try to destabilize and destroy and basically regime change Russia. It's not an accident, because as I said, Russia refused point blank to take part in the 1885 Berlin Conference, to be a part of that carve-up of the African continent. And throughout the years in our liberation struggles, Russia has been one of those entities that we have turned to in order to help and supply us with the wherewithal to fight back against this imperialist onslaught of colonization and destruction. So, you know, it's just important that we also know that. We have to know it's not that there aren't racist white Russians. Make no mistake about it. They exist. They're over there. Okay? See, white supremacy permeates the planet. You'll find them in China. You'll find them in Africa with black skin white supremacists. So understand how poisonous this philosophy and this way of life is on our planet. You see, but at the same time, recognize that who really is the enemy, especially in this modern time as we examine what's going on our planet.
Marion Ungwabi, President of the Republic of the Congo, was assassinated in 1977 amid suspicions of Western involvement. Ungwabi's death removed a leader who was steering Congo towards a socialist future, a path that was antithetical to Western interests in Africa. His assassination ensured that Congo remained aligned with Western powers rather than the Soviet bloc.
And you know, some of us are so dumb and so ignorant today that we'll still be persuaded that we got to stay with the West. We got to stay with the West. The people who have a history written in our blood, not the Russians, not the Soviets. They just haven't got that history. We can try and make it up if we want. We can try to listen to the Western narrative and get all emotional and condemn Moscow and condemn Russia, but they haven't got that history. These people who we live among has got that history, okay? It is not an accident that the assassinations of our Black leadership in the Congo is unabated and continues like clockwork right up to today. It is because of the mineral and strategic value of the land and its vast content of wealth recognized by the Western criminals who cannot let go of such a resource because it fuels their economies and makes countless million and billionaires who promote an elite class that creates the illusion that the Western world is beautiful and rich and should be the model for the rest of the world to follow and to aspire to be like them. You see these people with their Ferraris and their Bentleys and their Rolls Royces and their, multi-million dollar and pound yachts and wow, none of it came from the West. All of it comes from Africa. All of it comes from us. All of it has been generated from us, and then we're looking at our own wealth and thinking that it emanates or is being generated by these people, when in reality, it's just been stolen from us in the first place. Wow. I mean, the gold, when you go to places like Dubai and, these Emirates, and they've got all of this gold and it's so shiny. It's all been taken out of Africa and oftentimes not paid for.
No, exactly.
Not paid for in terms of market value or market prices. No, family. Spirited out and stolen.
Laurent Désiré Kabila, who overthrew Mobutu Sese Seko in the Democratic Republic of Congo, was assassinated in 2001. Kabila's relationship with Western-backed governments in Rwanda and Uganda had deteriorated, and his desire for greater control over Congo's vast resources made him a target. Kabila's death remains shrouded in mystery, but it is widely believed that various factions supported by Western powers were involved. His assassination removed a leader who challenged Western exploitation of Congo's wealth, ensuring that the country remained in a state of turmoil, ripe for continued exploitation.
Absolutely. You see the way Congo has been the place of mass assassinations of our leadership? Not an accident, dear family, not an accident, because that's the place. See, that's like the heart being the center of the human body. And that heart has to be protected by the rib cage and, by it's vital as the pumping station for the blood that flows all around the body from the head to the toe. And Congo, Central Africa, represents that central point that must be kept in absolute turmoil for these people to be able to continue to exploit the whole body. Even the brother narrating these very informative videos about an aspect of our history falls into the trap of using the enemy's language of dictator, which means a ruler with total power over a country, typically one who has obtained control by force. You know, this land dictator, or authoritarian, meaning favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority at the expense of personal freedom. You know, dear family, Muammar Gaddafi was not any of those things. But if you're not careful with such words and the thinking they produce, his murder can unconsciously become justified. That's why they use
Muammar Gaddafi, the leader of Libya, is a name most people know. He was relentlessly ridiculed in Western media as a madman, despite being one of the strongest voices for Pan-Africanism in the modern era. Gaddafi envisioned an Africa united, capable of charting its own course, autonomously and independently. He advocated for a United States of Africa and invested heavily in infrastructure projects across the continent. His most ambitious project was the dinar, a single African currency backed by gold. This was a direct threat to the Western financial system, and Gaddafi was beginning to gain serious traction, culminating in a pivotal speech he gave at the United Nations in 2009. Gaddafi's regime was undoubtedly authoritarian, and his support for global revolutionary movements isolated Libya internationally. However, he was respected across Africa and had many admirers, including Nelson Mandela, who valued Gaddafi's commitment to African unity. Mandela even named his grandchild Zondwa Gaddafi Mandela, and never believed the West should dictate who Africans should call friends or allies.
One of the mistakes which some political analysts make is to think that their enemies should be our enemies.
In 2011, during the Arab Spring, NATO intervened in Libya under the guise of protecting civilians. Gaddafi was ultimately overthrown and killed, plunging Libya into chaos. This intervention, heavily supported by the West and fueled by relentless propaganda, marked the first time social media was overtly used to sway a political agenda. Twitter and Facebook were inundated with anti-Gaddafi rhetoric, making it clear that his downfall was a coordinated effort by Western powers. The West, particularly the US, viewed Gaddafi's efforts to unify Africa and establish an independent economic bloc as a significant threat. His death was the culmination of a NATO-led military operation overseen by then US President Barack Obama, who later admitted it was the biggest mistake of his administration. Libya, once a prosperous nation under Gaddafi's rule, is now a war-torn, fractured state. The dream of African unity that Gaddafi championed was shattered, and with it, the hope for a continent free from Western domination was set back decades. Is there concrete evidence of Western involvement? You've seen the video of Hillary Clinton's gleeful reaction to Gaddafi's murder.
We came, we saw, he died.
But that is the least of it. Hillary Clinton's leaked emails between herself and former French President Sarkozy revealed the true motivations behind the intervention: securing oil contracts and reinforcing French influence in Africa. Sarkozy's emails explicitly discussed France's intent to increase its share of Libya's oil production and strengthen its geopolitical standing. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Gaddafi's elimination was not just about removing a dictator. It was about extinguishing the possibility of a united Africa, capable of challenging Western interests in the region.
Oh, family, I hope you are following, you see, because the other thing you got to understand is how all of these European nations and America, how they're all united in this process of maintaining the status quo and keeping any African leader from ever rising. Remember, with Ibrahim Traore today, there's been over 20 assassination attempts already. With Muammar Gaddafi, it took them over 40 years, but eventually they were able to get him and destroy his movement that was about the unification of the entire continent, you see? And so one of the lessons that you and I have got to learn is how, you see, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been teaching for 70 years. What is that teaching us? That we have to have longevity. We have to have patience. We have to know how to stay the course and not get tired and not get weary and not be these instant revolutionaries where if it doesn't happen in 6 months for us, then that's it. We run out of steam. We run out of energy. Yeah, that's right. I knew it wouldn't work, so I'm dropping out.
Yes.
Man, but the enemy is a long-term thinker and planner in evil. The enemy is so wicked and cowardly that he will use any means necessary. No matter how low down in the gutter of evil deed he has to go to shoot, backstab, ambush, blow up, strangle, or poison our black leadership to prevent what he knows is inevitable, which is the rise of the global black nation back into the seat of power ordained by the originator of the heavens and the earth and directed today by Almighty God Allah, the supreme being among us, Master Farad Muhammad and his Christ, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Messiah, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm making it abundantly clear. You can take it or leave it, family. This is the reality of the order that is in place today. And this is what the enemy is fighting against. And this is what is going to prevail. The will of Almighty God Allah will prevail today, whether you and I participate or not.
Felix Mumie took over leadership of the UPC after Niobe's death and continued to fight for Cameroon's independence. However, in 1960, Mumie was poisoned in Geneva by a French secret agent named William Bechtel. His assassination further weakened the anti-colonial movement in Cameroon and ensured that the country would remain within France's sphere of influence. French involvement in Mumie's death is a documented fact, not speculation. This assassination was part of a broader strategy by France to maintain dominance over its former colonies, using any means necessary to suppress movements for true independence.
Just think about this history, family. Think about all of these black leaders. You know, we're focusing in today on Africa, but you know, we started with Dr. Martin Luther King. See, because no matter where,
wherever on the planet,
you know, America, the Caribbean, all of the great Caribbean leaders who have come up. You see Maurice Bishop and all of them, all assassinated. They tried to kill Fidel Castro over 300 times, even employing the mafia to try to murder him. This is the reality of what we're dealing with. The American enemy, who helped to set up the state of Liberia, did not set it up to become a genuine place of freedom and independence for the former enslaved Africans resided in America. But like with every peace treaty or agreement signed with black, native, or indigenous people, there is always a trick or a twist in the tail, because the devil is always in the detail. And he will never voluntarily relinquish control, but like the skunk whose stench remains, he plots and schemes and intervenes, employing undercover, virtual, or remote control. This is his mode of operation, dear family.
William Tolbert, Liberia's 20th president, sought to move Liberia towards Pan-Africanism and reduce US influence. His independence stance and economic reforms led to his overthrow in a 1980 coup. While direct US involvement is unclear, the rapid recognition of the new regime and the lack of intervention suggest Western complicity in his downfall. Tolbert's death plunged Liberia into a cycle of instability that lasted 4 decades.
4 decades, family. 40 years of absolute turmoil as a result of them killing a leadership within Liberia, a place that they said that they helped to set up, you know, for formerly enslaved Africans on the American continent, but yet they're there undermining the growth and development of the same place. This is how the enemy works. I find it incredible how white European people have made it their business to completely embed themselves among us to the point where every aspect of Black life on our planet has been and continues to be affected in diabolical ways by their influence. It is hard to believe that for trillions of years we lived on the earth before the white man was even a thought. But within the last 6,000 years, he has had the most devastating impact on us to the point where he is at the center of everything, with hardly anything that we can point to and call it exclusively Black. Wow. I mean, I just want us to think, because that's the point. There's hardly anything. You know, like nowadays, like you see myself and Sister Claudia sitting together. It's so unusual now, really, see a Black couple, man. Black couples are being undermined. The breakup of the Black family is a thing. It's a real thing. It's been promoted. See? And we can hardly point to anything Black that's respected and loved and honored and cherished. If anything, it'd be frowned upon. Why do you want to have something Black? Yes. Why, you know, what's all this Black stuff? And so many of us have fallen for that, thinking that there's something wrong with wanting to have our own.
Amani Diori, the first president of Niger, was overthrown in a 1974 coup that led to his imprisonment and eventual house arrest until his death. Diori had been a staunch ally of France, especially with the growing reliance on Niger's uranium exports. However, as unrest grew and Diori's effectiveness waned, France did nothing to protect him. Some analysts suggest that France allowed the coup to happen because Diori was no longer serving their interests effectively. The new regime that replaced him was more aligned with French interests, particularly regarding the exploitation of Niger's natural resources.
This is Niger. This is the, you know, part of the Sahel states now that is now determined to cut ties completely with France because finally it would appear that maybe the Nigerians are recognizing this history. They understand that there is no future to be had with these former colonizers and enslavers of Black people. So there you have it, family. When you see and hear the military leaders of Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso declaring homeland or death, homeland or death, it means if you have nothing to die for, you have nothing to live for. And so you might think they're being extreme and that those of us who agree with them are too uncompromising. Come on, brother Leo, hold it down, man. We're too extreme. Or even worse, that the members of the Nation of Islam declaring the Caucasian people to be Satan and the devil is way too over the top. But I appeal to you, dear family, consider this brief history of their blood-soaked deeds against our leaders and our rise. Consider it before you make the mistake of thinking that, you know, these people are going to be somehow, they're going to change and they're going to be for us in some imaginary way. Dear family, as we close, I just want to let you know that something is coming up live and direct right here in the UK.
P.O.W.E.R presents a movie breakdown of Sinners, hosted by brother Leo Muhammad of BBC Real McCoy fame. Looking at the true impact of this latest installment from writer, producer, and director Ryan Coogler and starring Michael B. Jordan, this powerful live and in-person breakdown takes place on Saturday, 6th of September 2025 at Tavistock Hall, High Street, Harlesden,
NW10 for NE.
Doors open 6 p.m. Movie breakdown starts 6:30 p.m. sharp. £5 donation on the door.
So, family, that's going to happen on the 6th of September, 2025. We'll talk about it more as we get closer to the time. That's going to be live in NW10 in Harlesden, right here in London. And if you can make it out, we want to see you. We want to see you in person. We don't know yet if we're going to Zoom it. It may be Zoom. Yeah, we might live stream, do a special Zoom on that particular day, a special imagination on that day featuring the movie breakdown of Sinners. But just keep an eye out for that, dear family, because that's coming up on the 6th of September. Dear family, I pray that you are all good. I pray that these lessons that we are attempting to share with you, that they strike a note and that they prick your conscience and that they provoke thought, and that you can begin to image a nation, that you can begin to see that we can actually think outside of the box, that we can actually do something for ourselves, that we have a beautiful potential future ahead of us, but we have to come to terms with the reality of our condition, where we are, who we're among, and know the time and what must be done. And so, dear family, I really want to thank you for, spending this time with us. And I pray that Almighty God Allah will bless each and every one of us with the light of understanding as I greet you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you once again, Brother Leo Muhammad.
Praise be to Allah.
Insight. Thank you. And don't forget, family, tune in to the Final Call Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to feed our mind on the truth and right guidance. As I said, it makes a difference. It's not only about eating the right foods physically, it's also taking in the right foods. Yeah, spiritual. Very, very important. Both have to go hand in hand. It can't be one or the other. It's got to go hand in hand in order for us to grow. And don't forget, subscribe to the Final Call newspaper to get the digital edition. It's such a small monthly fee to receive the truth.
That's right.
And it's the only newspaper that is unbought and uncompromised. So subscribe to the Final Call newspaper. Also tune in to the weekly lectures on noi.org or media.noi.org, and to hear the lectures by the Nation of Islam. That's it. Thank you all for tuning in once again. We pray that Almighty God, Allah, will guide and protect you all, and Allah will guide us to separate from this enemy and to do something for self. Do for self or suffer the consequences. Those are the words of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we are actually seeing that being fulfilled now. We will be suffering the consequences, and some of us are. So let's separate. Get back to our original state. We have the power. Allah is backing us. We have the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So with that said, thank you all for your comments. Thank you so much for your time. Inshallah, next week, by the grace of Allah, we will see you again.
Very soon, inshallah.
Thank you.
Take care, family. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.